So, as most people, especially if you're aware of just the changes in society, you can definitely tell that we live in a very sensitive world now. And as the years continue to progress, it seems like it's becoming more and more sensitive. And, on one hand, there's positive to that because it's forcing people to an extent, not forcing, but like more groups of people are being accepted in society, and like opportunities and stuff like that. But at the same time, I personally think that is mostly negative. People are still pretentious and judgmental. It's just human nature, and we live in a fallen world, so it's always going to be that way. But the reason why I wanted to speak on this is because I've noticed how the quality of movies has gone down. Not in every respect, but in many respects, the quality of movies have gone down because we are living in this sensitive world. A world where being politically correct, means absolutely nothing, is more important than actually telling the truth, right? And in particular, I was thinking about Disney movies. Obviously, we know that Disney is a monopoly, and honestly, their whole goal at this point is just to create trash movies that are indoctrinating the minds of the youth. These Disney movies of today, I'm talking about like Disney movies from like really post 2020, but I mean, I really feel like it started like 2017, 2018 until now. Like now, the Disney movies that are coming out now are just so garbage. They're either just remakes, live actions that aren't thought out well, or they're just movies that aren't substantive, right? And for those that grew up on the older Disney movies, and you're now seeing the transition of what we have now, it's like everything is so politically correct. Even in kids' movies, they have to include these messages which aren't helpful at all. But if you're someone that believes in the Bible and the Word of God and biblical prophecy, you know that all these things are supposed to happen anyways. It's basically just like people thinking that good is bad and bad is good. But the reason why I'm mentioning this is because the role of the artist is so important in today's climate. You're even seeing now that even on YouTube, you can't even say certain phrases or words or talk about certain groups of people without your channel being flagged, or you getting reprimanded by YouTube, even if what you're saying is true and you're not saying anything in a way that is you're like purposely bashing people. Like you're literally just speaking facts. You can't even say that, or you'll get demonetized, or your channel would be at risk of getting taken down. And I'm just saying that as an artist, our role is so important because I believe personally that art is one of the elements of life where you can continue to speak the truth and talk about certain topics without actually saying anything, because you're portraying it through your art, right? Because it's only people when you start to open your mouth and speak things, that's when you get reprimanded. But drawing things or creating images that have an underlying theme, that is, I would say, like more safe in a way. But you're still, at the end of the day, it's all an act of rebellion and revolution to this matrix. So you can still get quote unquote reprimanded for it. But for me, as a surrealist artist, I like to take elements of life and the themes of things that are happening in the world or in my life or just in the life of humans in general, and I put an exaggerated spin on it to really push a message. And I just believe that in times to come, the artist is going to be so important to waking up people and helping them see differently, especially from the visual perspective, and writers as well. Writers have been doing it since forever in books, because it's easier, like they say, it's easier to tell the truth. You just put it in a book because most people don't read, but writers have always been doing that. But I consider a writer an artist as well. But yeah, I just been noticing how the world has just been more sensitive, and it's kind of diminishing the quality of like mainstream movies and art. Obviously, there are independent films that are doing well and are making amazing movies, but those aren't the ones that get the most traction, right? Like, even thinking about like a movie in particular, if you go watch the Pirates of the Caribbean series, you'll notice that they spoke on a lot of topics that if those movies were made like today in like 2025, 2026, it wouldn't fly. But they were made like early 2000s or like 2010-ish, around that era, where people weren't so sensitive or were caring about being politically correct. So they spoke on things, and I feel like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, like the first three, like after that, it started to get a little weak in my opinion. But the first three movies were very strong, and they spoke on things and they portrayed themes that are important, that are actually still happening today. And those movies are amazing, especially At World's End. That's like one of my favorite movies. But Disney, at the end of the day, even from the conception of it, is a government program. So as we get further and further along in this movie, in this play of life, and we're getting closer to Mark of the Beast and stuff, they're only going to create things that are kind of like pushing a certain agenda. Like even in the Avatar movie, the most recent Avatar movie that I watched, what was it called? Fire and Ash. It was the most recent one. I don't remember. They had the female villain, the female Avatar villain. I can't remember what it was called. Was it the water one or was it Fire and Ash? I don't know. It was a great movie. I enjoyed it. But there was, I don't know if anyone picked up on, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people picked up on it, but there was this one scene in the movie, and this is a spoiler, but I mean, whatever. But there was this one scene in the movie where one of the villains, what was the guy's name? Spider's father, who was an Avatar, and he came to like that evil villain woman's realm or their area. She was like the fire queen or whatever, and she was like putting witchcraft on him and stuff, and it was like a whole 30 minutes of just voodoo and witchcraft. And like, since I'm aware of these things and I know about the symbolism, they were literally putting that in our faces for like 30 minutes. It was like one 30-minute montage of witchcraft, and like symbols would pop up on the screen, and like I saw like certain symbols that I know has demonic origins to it. Like, I don't care what anybody tells me, it has demonic origins to it. And I felt that negativity in my spirit. And I know people be like, oh, you're reaching, it's just a kid's movie. But like, I noticed that as an adult because I'm aware of these things. But the thing is, when you're not aware of something and you watch something that may have witchcraft in it or a negative spirit attached to it, you may not feel it in your spirit because you don't know or you're not aware. But that's the thing. They want it to go to your subconscious. They want it to go through your spiritual walls undetected, so it can permeate in your life in a different way. And that's mostly kids went and watched that movie, and that scene was potent. Like, it was like a 30-minute scene, and I went with my siblings. I went with my whole family. But I turned to the left and I looked at my sister and I looked at my brother. I was like, man, what they got going on here, bro? But you know, that's just the world we live in. And obviously, if you're someone that likes to study just symbolism in movies and old movies, they've been portraying like all types of satanic things, and even in the old cartoon Disney movies from back in the day. But even then, I still believe that those movies, the cartoon ones, and then like the older live actions that Disney were making, they still were quality movies. Like, I go back and watch them and I'll see the symbolism, but the base of the movie was still a very good movie. There wasn't no political correctness, wasn't any of that. Just like, what do you call it? Those just those agendas that they push now in everything. They weren't in those movies, and those were the better movies. But now everything has to show an agenda, because Disney that's just what they do. But this is a message to artists. Be bold when you create art. Don't be afraid to express yourself. And you have to realize as well, and this is not to like make you frantic or afraid or being, dang, like this is a big, because I mean it is a big task, but it's not something that should be burdensome. But you should also realize that you've been given a gift that is like no other. And when I say art, I'm talking about people who actually draw and make art, people who make music, people who sing, people who dance, people who write. Like, these are all part of the expressive arts, right? And when you are an artist in one of those ways, or another way that I probably just can't think of, you have to realize that you are one of the main reasons why the fabric of this world is still put together. Obviously, God is over everything, but he's using us to spread the light. I mean, obviously you can choose, because there are people who choose to go on the side of darkness and spread darkness. But if you believe that art is spiritual and you don't want to tamper with it because that could ruin you, and you want to do your due diligence of creating art that leads people to God and helps them wake up from their slumber, from the darkness, then it is so important that when you create art, you put your whole soul into it. You do your very best. It doesn't have to be based off of like an event in the world, but definitely create something that has depth to it, and realize that there's a lot of power in what you do, because you can portray a message when everyone, it seems like the whole world sees like the government and the powers that be are trying to shut everyone down and make people believe a certain way, and like groupthink and all that stuff. But you're creating art in a way that's still reaching people. It's like on my Instagram, in the bio, as of right now, I don't know when you'll watch this video, but as of right now, I have a quote on there. It comes from a book, but it's "For whom the bell tolls," right? And basically, to me, what that means, and I'm pretty sure this is actually what it means, is that when you create art, when you write a book, or you share a message, and the message is deep and it has underlying themes, and you made it in such a way to reach certain people, it will reach those people for whom the bell tolls. Art is spiritual. So anyone that, whether you watch this video, or you see my art on Instagram, or you see someone else's art, or you listen to a certain song, whether it was good or bad, whether it is a song of light or darkness, it reaches those who it is intended to. Obviously, I create things with the intention to awaken people from their slumber, to bring them out of darkness. So I'm not trying to manipulate or fool people in an evil way. So when I create that art, and I pray to the Most High that this reaches who it needs to reach, it always does, right? I don't know who it reaches, but I know it always does, because this whole journey, this whole process of taking something from the spiritual realm, then it goes to my mind, and then I materialize it into the physical, is a phenomenon that I will never be able to fully express how crazy it is, because I can't even explain what happens. Like the split second of what happens from when I'm thinking it to when I'm creating it is insane. But yeah, we live in a very sensitive world, really mainly the US. I'm sure other countries are experiencing this, but the US corporation is extremely sensitive, and it gets even more sensitive. But I still believe that there's a rising of people waking up and just telling the truth, not caring what will happen, just speaking their mind, because they know that it really is either now or never. You wake people up now, and you get right with God, and He'll protect you through the entire process. But this is really just a part of prophecy at the end of the day. So just do your part and enjoy the ride. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.